We had no rowing experience before, no ocean experience, and our success criteria for the Atlantic was just to get across. I mean, we knew nothing, but I think as we were going across the Atlantic, the success criteria kept changing. So one, we wanted to get across safely, and then we wanted to be the fastest female pair in our race, and then we wanted to be second overall in pairs. Halfway across, Charlotte came out of the cabin one day with this clipboard and was like, if we do 60 nautical miles a day, we're going to get the world record. And that's when everything changed.
Welcome to the How They Lead podcast, hosted by Benjamin Wade and Ben Stocker. This podcast is dedicated to exploring the world of high performance, showcasing examples of how individuals and teams can reach their full potential.
Together, they'll be inviting amazing guests who have defined or represented high performance in their own right, from world record breakers to individuals who have achieved first in their fields. The How They Lead podcast will showcase a diverse range of guests, each with their unique stories and insights to share. So join us as we challenge traditional ways of doing things, explore new ideas, methods and possibilities, and evolve the way people perform. Team Wild Waves, Charlotte, Jess, welcome.
Thank you.
This is going to be a great 20 minutes hearing about who you are, why you've appeared on our screens, and what you're doing next.
20 minutes?
At least 20 minutes, I think.
Talking to me.
I penciled in an hour.
I thought I'd start with 20 minutes.
I was going to say 20 minutes, we'll get like one question in.
An hour and 20 minutes, we might get that one question in. Welcome. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
You're looking forward to this, aren't you? Well, we've had you already. We had you on our podcast, but this is the next event, isn't it?
You had me, and that's only half the fun of it. So Charlotte's...
You had the wild, not the wave.
Yeah, exactly.
She's done that before.
You're bad.
Who are Team Wild Waves? Do you want to give us a quick hi to everyone listening and everyone that you want to reach out to? Who are Team Wild Waves?
So we are Team Wild Waves, made up of myself, Jessica, and Charlotte, obviously. In 2021, we rowed across the Atlantic Ocean and broke the world record for the fastest female pair to do so. We also raised £100,000 for shelter and women's aid. Thank you. And we got back to land, and 6 months later decided that wasn't enough. So we've signed up to row the Pacific Ocean June 2024 to raise more money for shelter, for homelessness, and obviously going for another world record. But we shouldn't say that, just in case.
We shouldn't say that. No, that's what we're striving for. But Wild Waves came about, I think, probably back when we met at university. So we've been friends for over 10 years now.
Nice.
And we used to channel energy into other things. And then I think probably about 3 or 4 years ago, we decided to start doing adventurous things. And it started out with boxing, and then it went to the Atlantic and now onto the Pacific. So that's kind of like the crux of our friendship now is challenges.
We don't really know what else to talk about nowadays.
We have to sign up to things, otherwise the friendship will die.
After the Atlantic, we were like, we had nothing to say to each other. Let's do another one.
Not much of a link between boxing and rowing, but we've obviously heard from Jess, just checking the story from Charlotte's point of view. How did that come about then?
Well, because we signed up, so it was called the White Collar Fight Club. And I don't know if you heard about it. You train to box, and then you go out in front of like 1,200 people, and you do the boxing match. And we did that at the time we were raising money for Mind. But as we were going to our training sessions, there was a really big homeless population in Victoria where we were doing our training. And Jess and I, before we even thought of the next challenge, we said, whatever we do, we want to do it for homelessness. And then I happened at the time to be working for Diageo, and Diageo owned Talisker. Talisker sponsor the Atlantic Challenge, where they did at the time. And I sent it to Jess, and I said, would you want to do that? And she was like, I wouldn't do that in a speedboat. What are you on about? Yeah. And I said, no, you're right. I was like, you're right, we wouldn't be able to do it. And she was like, we absolutely would. I just don't want to. And I think 3 months later, 3 months later, she was like, let's sign up. And then that was there. The rest was history, as they say.
Nice.
That's incredible.
That's just like you signing up to do the Marathon des Sables.
Almost.
No, he hasn't yet. But I thought if I got it on camera.
Yeah.
No,
it's manipulating. Yeah.
Ben's doing it. But you're doing it, Ben, aren't you? You're doing the marathon.
Oh, clang! Did I just drop that in there? Yeah.
It was an accident.
Yeah, well teed up.
I tried to, but there weren't enough spaces left. Maybe next year. Next year.
Yeah,
maybe
they don't.
Next year.
They don't let elite athletes in, so that's why Ben can do it.
No,
they don't.
Didn't want to show you up.
No ringers allowed.
It's definitely elitism here.
Okay, cool. So we kind of got a bit of an introduction of kind of who you are and the inspiration behind the challenges. You very quickly kind of skirted over a world record for females rowing across the Atlantic. That must have taken a hell of a lot of planning and discipline and a thorough strategy. Is that right?
And a lot of rowing experience.
And a lot of rowing experience.
I think you've teed us up nicely, because we had no rowing experience before, no ocean experience, and our success criteria for the Atlantic was just to get across. I mean, we knew nothing, but I think as we were going across the Atlantic, the success criteria kept changing. So one, we wanted to get across safely, and then we wanted to be the fastest female pair in our race, and then we wanted to be second overall in pairs, because there were like a team of 2 guys in front of us that just weren't going to be touched. And then
they were 6'6".
So we were fine with that. And then I think halfway across, Charlotte came out of the cabin one day with this clipboard and was like, if we do 60 nautical miles a day, then we're going to get the world record. And that's when everything changed. So there was no, it wasn't in sight at all when we started the race, but it was, the success criteria kept changing, and then maths came into it.
Yeah. I think the great thing about suddenly realising how many nautical miles you needed to do a day was then you could break down your shifts, because you're supposed to be rowing 2 hours on, 2 hours off, 24 hours a day. So if it's 60 nautical miles a day, you know you need to be doing 2.5 nautical miles an hour, which is 5 nautical miles a shift. So suddenly you've got something to aim for, and I think that really changed the game for Jess and I, because you were pushing yourself every single minute that you were on the oars, because you wanted to make sure that you hit the 5, otherwise you felt a bit like you failed. If you went over, you were elated. So suddenly we had KPIs. Introduced KPIs.
Brilliant. And is that something that you're going to take into your next challenge, or are you just going to get in the boat, keep rowing, and just see what happens?
Well, it's interesting because there's a new challenge with this. Yes, we can work out how many nautical miles we need to do a day, but we also have serious competition. Okay. So I think we pulled away quite quickly from the other female pair in the Atlantic, so that it wasn't necessarily, we weren't really thinking about them, it was just about the record. This time, I think there are 2 collegiate American rowers who one of them has the record for the Atlantic as a mixed pair, so they have the experience there. So it's almost like even if we did get the world record, we could still, or the world record, beat the world record time, we could still lose to them, and then we wouldn't have the record. So it's actually, I mean, that's a different pressure that we have to think about it. It's not just about beating the world record, it's beating them.
Yeah.
So what's more important, beating them and not getting the world record, or getting the world record?
But if we beat a good question.
No, I mean, yeah. I'd still want to beat them. So if we didn't get the world record, I'd still want to beat them. 100%. I think that's the goal, is to get to the other side as quickly as we possibly can. And if we don't get the world record, then we don't get the world record, but we better have come first.
I'm not joking. If you can come out of this with, if they don't beat them, then you've just become second, because you've definitely not got the world record.
There's so much pressure on us this time. People will be like,
But you might have the world record for the fastest female pair.
No, not if they beat us.
No, because this is a female. They were mixed
in the
you go for that, okay.
I just want to make sure we're back in the right horse. That's what
I know, exactly. That's the thing, isn't it?
You are
hot committed. I'm not going to tell you their names.
No.
I mean, we haven't really discussed, the reason why we're having this conversation on LinkedIn, although not on LinkedIn, because we broke LinkedIn with all the people that wanted to get on and hear you two straight away. So we're here to kind of launch our partnership with Wild Waves. So Wild Waves powered by West Peak, and we're stoked to be supporting you both, even though we didn't speak to the other crew.
Don't worry about that.
We've still got that 14-day call-off.
Okay. Oh, American market, nice. So tell, why a partnership with us? Of all the sponsors, why us?
I think, first of all, we were put in touch after the Atlantic by a mutual friend, so that we'd come and do some talks with you guys.
Yeah, that's right.
And I think what was really, really fun is there was an instantaneous partner-to-partner connection here. You guys have started your company. It's all based off of progress, pushing forward. And I think we're basically 2 teams who are trying to prove something in a very different way, but with the same mindset. And I think that's why it works really well. So, yeah, I mean, it's so brilliant that you guys are on board. When you confirmed there before Christmas that you guys were going to partner with us, it was just the best thing ever. And I think having a partner who's going to be with you for the whole journey and really gets behind you and supports you makes for a great team. So, yeah, you definitely are.
just to echo that, what I love every time I have a conversation with you both, it's like the nothing is impossible. And I think that is such a mindset that we love to have, as in everything is like a brainstorm. It's like, what could we do? What's the possibilities? And it's like actually striving for that next level. And I think you guys actually push us to think harder, which I love.
Well, we did actually think about joining you for the whole journey as well, didn't we?
Yeah, we could be mixed four. We'd absolutely smash it.
There is the Indian Ocean. Like, don't say no.
There's the Indian. Yeah, never say never.
Maybe. We'll think about it.
I'll tell you what.
After the marathon to start.
I've promised my wife a year off, so we can't do Indian Ocean next year.
Yeah, but fine. I mean, 2026.
There's many years.
There are many years. So
it's probably worth mentioning what the challenge actually is. We've alluded kind of to what you're doing. I didn't want to drop it in any earlier, but what is it you're doing?
We're rowing the Pacific Ocean this time. So we're setting off from California to Monterey Bay to row 2,800 miles to Hawaii. Similar distance to the Atlantic, but a very different race.
And why is that?
Very different ocean. Well, it's a very different race in terms of the first 7 days are supposed to be brutal, because you're coming off of, you think about the US and how it's such a large landmass compared to the Atlantic. We were setting off from the Canary Islands, which is a small island, so you're straight into deep water. Whereas the US, you have this thing called the continental shelf, so it's much shallower water. You've got the wind coming down from the north, the currents are really strong, so that first 7 to 10 days are brutally cold and just so difficult to get off that shelf, especially as a pair. I think at one point they were wondering whether they were going to get pairs to do it, so solos aren't allowed in the race. So to power yourself across, like, off that shelf is going to be very, very difficult. And apparently different waves, different type of sea. There's also a great white shark breeding ground about a mile from where we're setting.
Sounds so inviting.
New information.
Yeah, doesn't it? So when we get into clean the boat, Jess, you're actually going to have to watch out for sharks.
That was so funny. Last time on the Atlantic, Charlotte would have to go in and clean the boat because that was her job, because I didn't want to get my hair wet, and I stand by that decision. And I used to have to do shark watch, and there was one time I went, Charlotte, there is a massive fish. Can you just check if it's a shark or not? And she's in the water going, no, it's not.
Not great light. Not great light this time.
I was like, can you imagine if it was a shark?
Yeah.
She's like, can you just check if that fish is a shark or a fish? And I'm just like,
anyway, so now we have to be more vigilant, is what I'm hearing.
More vigilant of the shark.
There's one word that just hit me like a freight train there that Charlotte just threw, which was like the word apparently.
Apparently, yeah.
Apparently, there's some like challenging waves and winds, and it's hard to. So now I'm thinking, like, do you just ride that and go down to get off, or are you just going to cut through?
There is a preferred. It depends on the.
Is this top secret?
No, it's
tactics,
not. Because I mean,
tactics and strategy.
The team, technically, you should kind of come off and go a bit south and then push down. But if you look,
follow the trade winds.
But if you look at the teams this year that went off in June 2023, they had to go north a bit and curl around. So it really depends on the weather, and I think the weather is such a massive thing when it comes to this, because it can really help you or really hinder you. So I think I don't know about you, Charlotte, but our mindset is those first 7 days are just head down and push.
Yeah.
So how's your training changed then from the Atlantic to this, which is broadcast as the world's toughest row? Is it a mental game, or is it a physical, or what's changed this time around, or has nothing changed?
I think we're still using the same. So you have he's called Ocean Ready. So he does your kind of like on the rower, on the erg training and in the gym training. And then we are still down in Burnham and Crouch, which is where our boat is, doing almost the same routes. But I think Jess and I, interestingly this time, it's like, well, how can we make this as hard as possible? So for example, we're going down this weekend and we know that Sunday morning the tide is going to be against us and the wind is going to be against us. So we're like, okay, right, let's make sure that we try and get in at that time so it's brutally hard.
Yeah.
And I think instead, because there was one training session for the Atlantic where everything went wrong, like our steering broke, we couldn't turn left, the wind was coming. They were saying, if you don't get to this point by 12, like midnight, then you're going to have to get rescued. I think at the end of that, we like broke down and we said, the Atlantic can't be as hard as that was. And we stand by it. We were like, so then in our mind, we're like, right, Pacific training, let's break ourselves so that actually, like we went out the other day in -4 and we were like, right, it was so cold that we said, well, let's row for 10 hours straight, 2 up, so you're rowing together. We had 15 minutes break and that's what we did, because it was actually like, right, put yourself in the mindset of breaking.
And I think that's the other thing is we are now training in winter, whereas for the Atlantic it was the summer months, so we'd go down to Burnham on Crouch and it was absolutely beautiful. We'd be out there tanning and all this, and we're going down
like the Mediterranean.
Yeah, it was delightful. We go down there now and you're like head to toe in like oil rig gear, going, this is freezing. But yeah, so it's brutal training. I'm really looking forward to this weekend though.
Which you don't really imagine going California to Hawaii sounds delightful.
Well, yeah, you would think so, but apparently they call California, they say grey May. Something, a gloom June, grey May, and apparently it's like really quite cold in those months, which I didn't expect, and I don't know if we would have signed up had we.
There's a lot of things that have come out of the woodworks post signing up. So
a lot of apparentlys.
Apparently.
White shark breeding ground. Apparently,
when we're in Hawaii waiting for you. We'll question those apparentlys. So exactly. I've got you said rowing for 10 hours, 2 up for training, making it as hard as possible. Just like in a sadistic way, it sounds like music to my ears. That sounds amazing. But the biggest question to me when you said that wasn't, oh my goodness, that sounds hard, that sounds fatigued. What did you talk about? No, the biggest thing for me was, how did you eat? What are you eating?
So we eat on the oceans. We eat a combination of snacks and dehydrated food, right? So your snacks can be anything: chocolate, Haribo, whatever. They have this really great thing called Resilient Nut. It's like a nut butter, and it's just delightful. And then we have dehydrated food. But I mean, Charlotte and I are terrible. If there's snacks in the boat, we eat them. So there's just not going to survive. It's
no self-control.
Zero self-control. So and that happened in the Atlantic. We ate the snacks within 10 days. So then we were just on the dehydrated food, which is fine because it's great fuel, but it's not, fun for the taste buds.
I think it worked. It worked in our benefit. Yeah. I mean, we were so hungry, we were feeding each other on the oars. Like if the other person was on the oars, it was like, give me some, I'm hungry. But the thing with the dehydrated food, it's so nutritionally balanced that actually I think it ended up working in our favour because we were having 6 meals a day, 6,000, 7,000 calories, burning probably 8,000. I think we came off ripped, and I put it down slightly to actually not, because a lot of people end up getting seasick, so they have 1 meal a day and then end up having the chocolate and all of that as their fuel. And I think we're going to have to really talk about.
I think we'll just do the same again
to make sure.
We load it up for 60 days worth of snacks, eat them in the first 10 days, and then just
and break the record. There we go. That's the way to do it.
If it's not break, don't fix it.
I've just got a vision of you both floating in the Pacific in a Haribo coma.
Yeah,
just and then kicking into action.
We used to find rogue snacks. There was one right at the end. I think there was maybe 6 days to go. We found a naked bar, and it was Golan to a ring.
Fighting over it.
Scurrying on the boat. Yeah, exactly. And it was half each. It's my
But you must be a great specimen pair for some not product placement, but for people to send you all sorts of different types of snacks to test out.
Yeah,
there's not many opportunity to do this.
No, it's not. And actually, that's obviously everything around these campaigns is time. We've both got full-time jobs. We've obviously both got personal lives that we've got going on. So the campaigning and the training for this is just, it's huge. So there's so many things that we would like to do, reach out to all of these companies and try and find snack partners and food partners. But it's just time, isn't it?
It's a bit. I mean, what's interesting is you would think that people would completely jump on it given the story, because I've actually we had, it was Trek Bar and Naked Bar, and I reached out to the CEO, just sent an email. I mean, that didn't get responded to, so I found the brand manager, that didn't get responded to. And you would think there's the personal story behind it, there's the story about the fact that we found one 4 days out, it really fueled us across. So you would think people would respond, and it's often the people that you don't think will that do. And then it is quite difficult from a fundraising perspective, even if it is snacks and stuff, to get people on the hook. So that's something that we've struggled with, even second time around.
I want us to talk about the fundraising in a second, but have a look at Real Bars. I know this isn't appropriate for now, but
absolutely.
So Real Bars, I can probably introduce you to the company. They're 670 calories, really slim. I'm trialing them for did I mention I'm doing the MDS? I'm trying. I'm trying. You could sponsor me in this link. No, this isn't about me. But they're really, really good. And Andy, who joined us recently, used to use those in his old place.
Nice.
So he's got some old 2007 ones he's lent me to try, which are
to be
lovely.
fair, fine.
Which are fine, but they'll be really good.
Exactly.
So this interesting segue takes me back to like the reason you are doing this. I know the reason you're doing this, and the reason we're investing in sponsoring such an amazing team is about the money you're raising towards shelter.
Yep.
That's part of this. So I'd really love for you to both share a bit about like what impact the fundraising, the awareness can have for shelter.
So I'll take that one, Charlotte. So Shelter's a charity that we chose to sponsor, to partner with for the Atlantic, because as Charlotte said earlier, we wanted to raise money for homelessness. Shelter works at a national level. While they always deal with people on the streets for homelessness and families, they actually work at government level to make actual change, this sort of legal change. So it was a charity that we felt would have a huge impact, not just for the people on a day-to-day, but also actually instigate change. When we signed up to do the Atlantic, the reasons were obviously the alignment to the cause, but also we had COVID, and there was a huge economical shift, which is making the homeless population so much harder. And now we're moving into the cost of living crisis. So when we were deciding if we should raise money for a different charity again, or even a different cause, we just both kept going back to, this is really what we're aligned to. And, 309,000 people were homeless on Christmas Day. So the cost of living crisis is huge. The number of people are expected to lose their homes this year because of rent being raised. Like normal people who just can't afford to live in this world.
And it's even, and what Shelter do, which is brilliant, is how much they, like just saying around lobbying the government, because the social housing at the moment in England and affordable housing, it's a crisis. And they do so much work behind the scenes about trying to push that forward with affordable housing. So it's a great charity that we've really enjoyed supporting, and that's why we wanted to support them again.
And are you just aiming for as much as possible, or have you got a goal in terms of the financial sponsorship?
Yeah, we want to raise £50,000 for Shelter, but we want to smash it. We raised £100,000 for Women's Aid and Shelter last time. So yes, of course there's a target there, but we want to break it.
Of course, as much as possible.
Yeah.
So not only are you training, you've got full-time jobs, you're undertaking the world's toughest row, and trying to raise 50,000 or more for Shelter. Yeah. You're also looking for corporate sponsorship as well, aren't you? Just in your spare time.
Right now. We're holding it together, but this is definitely the crux time, isn't it?
It's the hard part, yeah.
And why do you need that corporate sponsorship then?
Well, the corporate sponsorship works in two ways. Obviously, it gets us to the start, and then there are packages involved in that. So, when a corporate sponsors us or partners with us in the different levels, there's so many benefits. One, obviously, is the fact that we've got this kind of relationship, and there's a huge employee and customer engagement piece. But there's so much more that we offer within our packages, like brand awareness and, what else do we offer, Charlotte? Brand awareness, motivational talks, everything is part of this full journey.
Yeah.
But yeah, ultimately, we sell all of our boat, we sell our equipment. All the money then goes to charity. So we're just pushing really hard to get to the start and then to raise money on top of it so that it's a lot that goes to Shelter.
Are you close to your target for that as well? Or there's still space on the boat for some logos?
There's definitely space.
There's absolutely space, yeah. I think, would you say 2/3 of the way there?
I would say, yeah.
I think there's still quite a chunk to go, and it is crunch time, but we're still doing as much as we can to try and get into corporates. And show the packages that we have so that they can partner with us and understand why they would want to. So it's a big push at the moment.
Whose logo would fit nicely on the boat?
I don't know, but there's
apart from ours, obviously. But who are you trying to reach out to?
I mean, we've got loads of different leads out there at the moment. We had a really great platinum sponsor last time called My Pension Expert, so we still have that platinum space available. So if there is a company out there who wants to be the all singing, all dancing star of the show, alongside West Peak, obviously.
Of course.
And that is
exactly.
Because you had a massive reach last time, didn't you? The millions of people, because you were in all the national newspapers, the TV.
76.2, yeah. I think we calculated it was like 76.2 million was the reach, which was huge. Because we were in Daily Mail, we were in the Telegraph, we were interviewed by Jeremy Vine.
That was fun.
Yeah, there was so many different... It was interesting, actually, the amount of media attention that it got, which was great.
And memorable characters as well.
These two. So for everyone who's watching this on YouTube, listening to it on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, we'll put the links to Team Wild Waves in the show notes and on our YouTube channel and everything like that. Reach out to them because we one of the things that blew me away, apart from obviously your two lovely personalities and the attitude that we resonate with in terms of like build the ship as you go. The boat. Don't build it as you go, row it as you go. But one of the things that, I mean, we'd already agreed to partner with you. But then I think you sent across like a formal deck that you would normally send to a partner. And that formal deck like really opened my eyes in terms of what we get in return for partnering with you. But I'll tell you what, I'll tell everyone that the bit that really got me was the piece, the data you put in there about the number of the number of people and then children, I think it was, that are homeless every night in Dorset where we are. And that like hit me hard. And I kind of get goosebumps, like bad goosebumps, thinking about it now, that actually this is a really inspirational, worthy way to donate towards two people doing something, fantastic in terms of challenge-wise, but also to be able to make meaningful change as well in helping people have probably one of the most important things for me, which is a safe place to sleep at night.
That's exactly it, Ben. Like, it's completely bang on. It's like a multifaceted challenge in the sense that you've got the exciting part of it, which is, supporting a challenge. What does that mean for your employees, for your customer? What does that mean for your brand and how it aligns to your values? But you've also got this really serious element that is, we are raising money for homelessness. There's a whole CSR side of it. So you can map it to however you would like within a company and get so much out of it while supporting, real people.
Cool. And how can our listeners help out most? So in terms of your next steps or your priorities, is it donations to shelter, or is it like corporate sponsorship?
Corporate sponsorship is the big one at the moment, because we obviously have a goal that means if we don't get it, we won't get to the start line. But a big thing that actually really helps is introductions to people who might be able to sponsor. Okay. So even if you or your company can't sponsor, if you know somebody and you think that there would be a really good link, just that, not because what we found is with cold calling, it often doesn't work. That might work 1% of the time. But if somebody makes an introduction, and it can be even small things. For example, if somebody works at Tesco and they know them, they can send like a £200 gift voucher, which we can actually take off of the food bill, and it's things like that. So I think it's like introductions would really help at the moment. And then once we're fully funded, we have got the fundraising page up and running. So if that's also something that people would want to do, that obviously would help enormously as well. But yeah, also
launching the Wild Waves online raffle next month, which is
tell me more.
Oh, you can't write it. So we've got prizes, we've got cash prizes, we've got hotel prizes. IHG are sponsoring us two-night stays in any of their destinations worldwide. So we've got loads of prizes which we're forming together now, and it's a raffle. So, from a personal perspective, you can go on, you can buy your raffle ticket, 5, 10, 20, 30, 50, however many tickets you want to buy. And then we'll do a prize draw in a couple of months. And so,
Right. And that's Team Wild Waves website, or is that through a different
it's going to be
site?
through Crowdfunder, but we will put the links on the website and everything like that, and trust me, we'll be super vocal when that launches. But, fundamentally great prizes. We've got 2 cash prizes, hotel stays, everything. So, yeah.
Maybe a night out with Wild Waves.
We did say night out with us, which, I mean, is the winning formula.
Which might be a wild rave based on...
Exactly.
It'll be memorable.
I think...
Or not.
And
it'll be like some porridge, a protein shake and an early night.
In Burnham,
you can choose pre-race or post-race, like night out.
Amazing.
And is there anything else that we can help with? Obviously, you've partnered with us, and we've kindly decided to power you through your journey. But is there anything we can help with? Obviously, our niche and expertise is people performance, which is what we saw in you as well, being out as a pair, getting through those difficult conversations, like self-leadership. We've heard about your decision making, and it was the spin of the wheel, I think.
Tiny decisions.
Tiny decisions.
Absolutely brilliant.
It's the first time we've heard of that. Anything that we could help with?
I mean, you guys are already doing so much anyway. Like, from when we decided that we were going to be a formal partners, you guys have been driving this campaign forward. So we're really, really grateful. I think more that you can get us in front of sort of people that customers. We do motivational talks. We are all over that for, coming up to this year. We've got International Women's Week. Just keep pushing the challenge and the agenda. But I think just keep doing what you're doing with us, because it's really, really fun to have a partner who are like behind it. And fun and motivational.
And it's nice they've offered to fly us out to Hawaii to be on the finish line. I mean, I thought that was amazing.
I mean, you might be in a dinghy behind our boat.
Well, yeah, okay.
I was going to say, you can sleep in the cabins and we'll row you there.
Stowaways.
A couple of tinnies, we'll be fine.
God, that sounds great.
Oh, good stuff. Well, look, thank you so much
thank you.
for joining us on our LinkedIn Live that broke the internet. Everyone who's watching this on YouTube or listening to it on the podcast, as promised, we'll put all the links that Team Wild Waves send us, so you can sponsor them, enter their raffle to win a holiday and night. I know it'd be better than a holiday and night.
Are there some ways that you can follow your training as well?
Oh, yeah.
Is that just before we go? Because I'm sure there's people out there who'd love to see you rowing or trying out your
I tell you
training
what, so
techniques.
our website, within our website, links to our Instagram account, and our Instagram account is the thing that we keep the most updated.
Cool.
But then once we get close to the race, keep your eye on our website, because we'll keep it updated, and on our LinkedIns, obviously, because we'll post all the apps where you can track us and things like that.
Amazing.
So yeah, maybe we'll only post the app if we know that we're doing well, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Oh, we're gonna feedback whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
We'll be like, by the way,
diary.
everyone, Tuesday morning, 9 a.m. The girls have fallen behind.
Yeah.
Big fin spotted. Start with the battle.
The shark breeding ground. Wasn't one, apparently. Well, Charlotte, Jessica, thanks very much, Jess. I appreciate your time. It's great to hear more about your challenge and how we can follow you, get involved, and get that corporate sponsorship and the charity sponsorship up as well for you.
Thank you. And both of you, Ben, and everyone at West Peak, thank you so much for everything, because it's just brilliant having you guys on board, and we're really grateful.
It's invaluable.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us on the How They Lead podcast.
We hope you've enjoyed this episode and learned something new about the world of high performance.
If you have any feedback or suggestions for future episodes, please don't hesitate to reach out to us.
And don't forget to subscribe to the How They Lead podcast on your favourite platform, so you never miss an episode.
Until next time, keep pushing yourself to reach your full potential and evolve the way you perform.
And remember, just because something has always been done a certain way, doesn't mean doing it a new way can't work.